Dear, good morning, good day, dear conference attendees. Let me share my presentation titled Methodological Approaches to Assessing Social Well-Being in the Regions of Kazakhstan. The aim of this paper of our study is to develop methodological approaches for assessing the social well-being based on the study methods of current methods of social well-being. Our research, our article prepared, our paper prepared within the project development of National Index of Social Well-Being in the regions of Kazakhstan and its adaptation to the conditions of the global geopolitical and economic crisis. Based on literature review, and study of the old practice of assessing social well-being, we classified the approaches into three levels and identify parameters, data collection methods, and data analysis methods. The first level is macro level. There are international indexes through countries like the Social Progress Index, the Genuine Progress Indicator, the Global Livability Index, Better Life Index, that evaluate social well-being using the following parameters: human needs, the foundation of human well-being, and human development opportunities, economic, social, and environmental indicators, the stability, culture, and environment, healthcare, infrastructure, education, physical conditions of life, the level of quality of life, and life satisfaction of the people in the society. At the meso level, regional social well-being is assessed based on economic conditions, labor market conditions, neighborhood relations, and the environment indicators. At the micro level, subjective assessment of the well-being of individuals, the quality of life, physical health, psychological health, and social relations parameters is assessed. After that, we developed the structure of the assessment of regional social well-being at the various levels. Thus, first of all, at the macro level, at country level, we will assess based on statistical analysis on international indicators and secondary data. And at the meso level, we will conduct an analysis based on adaptive index of social well-being in the regions of Kazakhstan. And at the micro level, we will assess the subjective assessment of the people within conducting a survey of the population to assess the standard of living and social well-being in the population. The statistical analysis is assumed based on international indicators by sources, databases of international rating agencies, databases of United Nations, the cooperation and development, the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, and etc. world organizations. At the meso level, it's planned to conduct an analysis based on the adaptive index of social well-being in the regions, based on the study of scientific literature, the indicators of the adaptive index. We developed into following areas. directions. First of all, economic indicators. Second, indicators of living standards indicators, and indicators of the education sector, and furthermore the healthcare sector, indicators of the social sphere, and environmental indicators. Of course, we identified the main stages of calculating the adaptive index of social well-being. The main stages of calculating the adaptive index are, first of all, conducting an expert assessment for the purpose of which is to determine the weight coefficients of indicators, of each indicators and of each sub-indicators. After that, according to the selected indicators, the formation of statistical database based on the data of the Bureau of National Statistics of the Agency for Strategic Planning and Reforms of the Republic of Kazakhstan for the period 2012 and 2022 by regions of Kazakhstan. And after that, we will standardization of data using that normalization in the SPSS 25 program, taking into account weight coefficients. We will find the integral index of social well-being in regions of Kazakhstan. And after that, finally, we will rank the class and classify the regions of Kazakhstan according to the level of the social well-being index, finding leaders and outsiders, identify the strength and weakness of each region. Okay. In conclusion, this methodological approach help us to assess social well-being in our country at the macro level and meso level and micro level. The next stage, this year, first year, and the next year we will start collect data for according level of assessing, and after that we will analyze our data and write as a journal and other conferences. Thank you very much for attending.
Thank you so much, Professor MOLDABEKOVA. And then any questions from the floor? If we don't, we're gonna go. Is Dr. KODISA, the rating assessment and depression, ready or?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, let's start your presentation.
Good morning, dear colleagues. Good morning, dear colleagues. My name is Gulnaz. I want to present you our research provided with Professor Naila Kapenova, Nursulli Grinbetova, and Nel Kireeva, rating assessment of depression vulnerability in the settlements in Kazakhstan. So first of all, I want to address your attention to that this study is focused on the rating assessment of the level of depressed and vulnerable settlements of regions of Kazakhstan. Which is explained by the urgent need for the development of depressed settlements in Kazakhstan, which have their own characteristics, and these characteristics are associated with the historically established uneven distribution of industries, resources, deep differentiation in terms of socioeconomic potential, and development of infrastructure. Therefore, they were developed the following four objectives. They were developed following four objectives. The development methods for assessing the level of vulnerability of Kazakhstan's regions, to analyze socioeconomic and infrastructural ecological conditions for Kazakhstan region, and to substantiate promising directions of economic diversification in depressed and vulnerable settlements, and to develop a set of regional policy measures in order to overcome the vulnerability of the economy of strategically important settlements of Kazakhstan. The research methodology was divided into three stages, which included the selection, the first stage, selection of vulnerability indicators based on the provided literature review. The second stage included data analysis, which was based on the statistical data and collected data during the provision of the research. And the third stage included special analysis of the results. Special analysis of the results. The next, the methodological approaches to assessing depression and the vulnerability of settlements have been developed throughout the provision of the research. And first of all, I want to give the short definition of depression and vulnerable settlements. So depressed settlements, these are territories that have the worst social and economic indicators among backward territories. And in the past, these regions were developed, in fact, but in some industries they occurred some drawbacks, and some industries occupied leading positions in the country, which, according to the analysis, showed regressive development. And vulnerable settlements, these are territories that may be exposed to different levels of environmental impact, ecologically vulnerable territories, districts, cities, villages, and have a low level of infrastructure development. So, based on the provided literature review and chosen indicators, the methodological approach allowed us to choose main regions for the provision of this research. These are therefore the research was provided on the sample of Mangistau, West Kazakhstan, and Atral regions. The choice of these regions was based on the reasons that these regions are scientific and industrial regions. These regions are classified as depressive due to their narrow specialization, and regions are borderline geopolitically and strategically significant, which are bordering with neighboring countries as Russia, for example, Russia. So the provided analysis. So in front of you, I want to present a degradation scale, according to which the level of development of settlements was provided, and it was provided, and it was based on the analysis of normalized data and various indicators used in the research. And this scale allowed us to identify depressed and vulnerable settlements in districts of these regions of Kazakhstan, which are presented to you: Mangistau region, Atral region, West Kazakhstan region. It must be mentioned that all these regions have one general feature, that there is a high dynamics in the outflow of the population, especially among youth. As according to the research, it was identified that one of the main reasons for the youth internal migration to more developed regions, as for instance Almaty, city of Almaty or Astana, it was based on the choice of the educational institutions and availability of social goods. And our task was to develop proposals and offerings for the government how to avoid such internal migration. Thus, the internal migration can become the basis for international migrations for use in the future. So the results of the analysis of socio-economic development of these selected regions showed that in these regions there is observed high rate of unemployment, and the major part of the population engaged in the work is observed in the agriculture field. There was also analyzed the problem, serious problem in the development of regions, that there is negative nature of demographic processes, as low fertility rate and high migration of out migration. There is abrupt change in indicators in different periods of time and differentiation by income levels. The growth rates of wages of the populations in some cities turned out to be insufficient due to inflationary processes caused by crisis phenomena in the economy, especially which were caused with the COVID pandemic-19. So the results of the analysis showed that many localities are underfunded from the budget, so there are no roads, jobs, or low wages. So we can see that there is poor local budget distribution. Stopping or threatening to stop the main city forming enterprises, the possibility of closing mining enterprises of cities, uncompetitive products, high environmental load of the territory, as well as significant vulnerability of territories to natural and man-made emergencies. And there is a decrease in the number of educational institutions, especially preschool institutions, day schools, organizations of technical and vocational education. And we can also say that education and employment rate are one of the main factors for population migration. Therefore, these are the two most urgent questions for these days now. The priorities for the development of depressed and vulnerable rural settlements should be the following. First, to improve the health of the population, stimulating employment and developing the quality of the education, modernizing social infrastructure, developing the sphere of culture, improving social protection of the population, and improving the environmental situation and developing tourism. This strategy of ensuring sustainable social development of depressed areas and cities should be aimed at stimulating economic sectors and developing infrastructure and human capital. So one of the goals to overcome depression and vulnerability of settlements should be played by improving the mechanisms of inter-budgetary alignment based on the following most important principles. First of all, there must be stimulated the expansion of the taxable base of settlements. For instance, this is the development of economic entities on their territory capable of ensuring financial self-sufficiency, reduction in the number of regions requiring state subsidies, reduction of inefficient inter-budgetary financial flows, ensuring the alignment of the levels of socio-economic development of regions and settlements located on its territories, ensuring a minimum amount of state-guaranteed budget provision to all residents, regardless of the administrative status of the region and localities of their residents. So my presentation is over. If you have any questions, I will be glad to answer you.